Hey guys, I'm going to be responding to some of your unpopular K-pop opinions which you put in a video uploaded last week. Let's get into it. I think K-idols just have too many shows and stages to perform and focus on, so they're probably tired as hell. On a bigger award show like Mama, they usually perform great. I agree that they probably do have too many shows and stages. It's exhausting having to know all these different dances and have to constantly perform them. But that is how they earn their money. You know, these K-pop artists, they don't earn much from album royalties. Most of their money comes from performing, so that's why they have to do so many. And they do usually perform better on the big award shows, but that's also because they, usually do a slightly different performance than what they'd do at like a smaller thing. Some immature K-pop fans make K-hip-hop look dirty. Hate that. Yeah, I've noticed this too. Some just pure K-pop fans seem to think that K-hip-hop is like a really awful genre of music, and there's just awful people. The K-hip-hop scene is fantastic with hella talented people. There's so many great up-and-coming rappers at the moment, and already successful rappers. Off the top of my head, people like BY and Gira Boy are just amazing. Some of the best rappers I've heard worldwide. I think they have so much potential. Yeah, I don't really see where these people are coming from with things like that. It's not dirty at all. There's not an intense amount of sexualization in this genre. It's really just a fantastic little industry. Girl group choreographies are often blunt and not very interesting. Also, they recycle dance moves, which makes it repetitive and unpleasant to look at. There are just a few exceptions, and I don't get how nobody notices this issue. Yeah, you're completely right. Girl group choreographies are often far less interesting than boy group choreographies. They're so much simpler. So much of it is done, with their hands and stuff. There's not much physical activity. It personally doesn't bother me that much, and it actually makes a lot of sense, especially given the type of music that girl groups tend to release. So yeah, it doesn't really bother me. But you are right, they definitely do recycle dance moves. They're often very simple. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that, to be honest. I'm really not that bothered about choreography. The title track isn't necessarily the best song. The title track is a song that sets the vibe for that album. That is what it should be, I believe. I think it should be the best song. And yes, definitely it's barely ever the best song, and I don't really agree with you saying that it sets the vibe for the album. Usually they just use what they expect to be the most successful song, the most marketable, safest, with the broadest reach. Nothing wrong with that, but it's been rummed around, and it's so obviously just the safest song that they could use as a title track. So yeah, I don't really agree. No matter how you put it, TXT will always be famous because of BTS. I mean, getting 1 million followers pre-debut, and Youngjun trending on Twitter 15 minutes after being introduced as a member, 3 wins in less than a month after debut, winning a Rookie Award of the Year award. I feel like it's so hard, even though I stand to say they are talented and hard-working, when they've been privileged since the beginning. I agree with the first sentence a lot. TXT were immediately famous because of Big Hit and BTS. What happens afterwards is sort of up to them. Are they interesting? Are they a talented group? If they are, hopefully, then lots of good music will be coming from them. I personally wasn't interested in that first album at all. I thought it was just so safe. It was really boring. But I also did hear a bit of potential, especially in the song Cat and Dog. And winning the Rookie of the Year award, I mean, that is sort of inevitable when you get numbers like that and it's your first year. I mean, it would be a bit disrespectful not to give it to them. But yeah, definitely, to say they're talented and hardworking at the beginning, I don't think that you should, diminish them just because they've had an advantage of life, because they may still be working very hard and they may still be very talented. I hate Blackpink fandom. They won't let anyone talk shit about them. I mean, every fandom has a basher, so leave it. You can't do anything to stop them. I mean, I can't say I've noticed Blinks be any more aggressive than any other K-pop fandom. In general, I think all fandoms are actually equally bad. I really don't see this whole, oh, it's only this fandom and this fandom, they're all these are unproblematic, these are problematic, because in the end, it's an even distribution of assholes. So that's a respectful disagree. I live nowhere in Asia, but I don't want groups making songs with Western artists. And that is your prerogative. I disagree. I like it when groups collaborate with Western artists, if it's a Western artist who is actually interested in doing a collaboration. I liked it when Steve Aoki collaborated with BTS because he obviously quite liked their music and he actually put a lot of effort into his work with them. However, then there are people like French Montana when he collaborated with Monster X, where he just submitted the lamest, most boring, pathetic, laziest verse I've ever heard. It was genuinely one of the worst things I've ever heard. And that was so disappointing. So I like it when groups collaborate with Western artists, but I just want them to do it with, solid artists who actually can be bothered to submit something good. BTS's EDM phase only started with Save Me. No, not really. I mean, Dope, that was their first title track that was really sort of properly EDM. You could definitely argue some of the songs from Dark and Wild were slightly EDM-esque. I mean, Danger is maybe more on the pop side, but there's definitely some electronic dance influence. But yeah, I mean, like Dope, I mean, that's EDM trap. It's just such like a staple of the EDM trap genre. Oh god, this is a long one. Okay, so I know someone probably mentioned something close to this, but I believe the groups that are debuting in the 4th generation don't have the same spark that the 3rd and 2nd generation had. For real though, it seems like the new goal for all these groups are international attention, while the 3rd generation groups came out to be legends. I mean, I'm just going to stop you right there. I do disagree already, because I can tell you right now, people in the 3rd and 2nd generations wanted to be internationally famous as well. They were there to make money. Nothing has really changed. This is just your sort of perception of how it is. I definitely agree with what you say later on, in that lots of concepts are homogenized and lots of styles are copied, and there is definitely less variety sound-wise at the moment, which is frustrating, and that is just because right now there are certain genres that are very popular. It's EDM and it's trap. But I can tell you right now, the company's approaches are still, let's make hella money. And the members, yeah, sure, they want to be famous, they want to be wealthy, they want to be legends. It's inevitable. What I look for is people that want to make music. And that's where you find the good uns. That's where you find the artists that actually mean something and will do something beyond just sing a song and become wealthy. Idol is one of the top independent female groups in this generation. I think top independent female group of this gen. I mean, independent, do you mean like a free spirit, independent women type thing? Because they're not independent, they're under a company. Otherwise, I mean, it's very early days. Their sales aren't crazy high. I like them a lot. I think their music is some of the best at the moment. And oh my god, your last name is Frimpong. Sorry, just haven't seen that last name in a while. I do agree to some extent. They have a lot of potential, but it's still very early days. They need to sell more. They need to release some actual proper albums. They haven't released a studio album yet, so yeah, early days. Groups that come out to produce TV shows are always underwhelming musically and go for safe and boring in the music. I'll never understand how they maintain popularity. You'd think since they already have a loyal fan base pre-debut, they could take risks with their direction, but it never happens. Oh my god, I couldn't agree with an unpopular opinion more. Pretty much all the produce groups that have come out have been really boring musically. They've just released just the safest, most uninspired, tepid music, and it's really frustrating. They literally have an audience and they could release some amazing music. 101 were doing crazy numbers straight after they debuted, and yet all of their title tracks, all of their projects were just like the blandest, most sonically unbearable to listen to releases. Sorry if that seems really harsh. I really didn't enjoy much of their music. Fingers crossed for X1. I mean, their most recent, well, their only release so far has been pretty boring. In general, it's girl versions of the group that are a little bit more exciting. I liked IOI. Some of their songs were a lot of fun, if a little simple and bubblegummy. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with this opinion. JYP's treatment of idols is worse than SM's. Look at how they overwork Twice and Stray Kids and compare that to EXO and NCT. I mean, this is definitely an unpopular opinion. I wouldn't suggest putting EXO in that category, given 3 of their members left because of poor treatment. I don't think there's really any evidence of what you're saying. I mean, Twice and Stray Kids, there hasn't been that many complaints about overworking. Twice have a hell of a lot of comebacks, and they haven't really had many issues other than maybe like a couple illnesses. I mean, that's sort of inevitable. I mean, lots of people were making a big deal about Mina revealing that she has anxiety, and we're blaming JYP. Like, anxiety isn't like one of the most common mental illnesses at the moment right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much evidence about what you're saying right now. And you know, NCT, there hasn't been much issues with that, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes and lots of stuff that you don't necessarily know. So yeah, I just don't think there's much evidence of what you're saying. And yeah, that's my response to your guys' unpopular opinions. If you want to, you know, have more of these videos, let me know in the comments down below. I definitely want to do more. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. This is going to be Gino signing out. See you guys soon.
What? Drip to what? 내 친구들 봐. 내 친구들이야. 인물 좀 봐. 인사 오지게 봐. 깜빡치기 전에 숨어 있다가 나와 안 보내.